Here goes Rachel Maddow, our girl. Go for it, Rachel.
Associates and friendships become an issue when political opponents decide to make them an issue. And so we've talked about this before on this show. I mean, the Jeremiah Wright...
Wait, Joe,
let me make my point and then you can dismiss me. Let me make my point first. The Jeremiah Wright as a pastor for Barack Obama is an issue. The political associations that John McCain has made with right-wing pastors have not been an issue. The issue that has been made about who's given money to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton because their opponents have decided to go after them on that. But, for example, John McCain had this incredibly controversial relationship with his Florida campaign co-chair, who was caught in a bathroom offering money to a police officer to do something that we can all imagine in a bathroom. Nobody's going to John McCain about that and saying, he was your Florida campaign co-chair? What do you think about men doing that in bathrooms? What do you think about entrapment from police officers? What do you think about public sex? Nobody brought that stuff, but nobody's brought that stuff up to John McCain at this point, and it's a decision made by political opponents. It's not something that happens organically because of how long you've been around the block.
Joe, what are you seeing tonight?
Well, I think I may blow all my time on the prediction to respond to Rachel. I don't engage in crossfire type debates, and certainly I don't want to talk about what people do in bathrooms. I do want to say, though, that anybody, and you can ask Harold Ford, you can ask anybody that's ever run for political office, that the thing you want to do is define your opponent. You define opponents that people don't know more easily than defining opponents that have been in public service for a quarter of a century. It was the only point I was trying to make. And again, I don't do crossfire, so if we want to yell back and forth, then Rachel will have to find somebody else to do that.
I wasn't trying to yell back and forth with you. I was starting to make my point. You cut me off before I started my first sentence. That's all. I was... Okay. You waited for me to start, I started, and then you jumped in.
Well, I don't mean to be condescending, but I can say that anybody that's ever run for political office before knows that there's a big difference between John McCain and defining him, who's been in public service for 25 years, and defining Barack Obama, who was in Washington, D.C. for 1 year before he decided to run for president.
All right, I'm going to shut this particular debate down and move on. John, your thought about what's going on. All right, Rachel, your thoughts tonight.
First of all, Joe and I will go out for a beer and hash this all out. That's my first.
We'll crown royal for this beer fest these guys about to have.
Joe only drinks white wine.
See, you saw at the very end, they used to have 4 people up, along with David Gregory, and at the end they had 3 people up, because at some point, Scarborough took off his mic and threw it down, and then next time they came to him, he was gone, right? Now, look, there's so many things to say about that clip. Number one, look at Scarborough, man. He oozes contempt. He does. Like, anybody who's been in politics knows that you define your opponents if they're Democrats, and we don't let you define your opponent if they're a Republican. Everybody knows that. Who are you? Well, wait a minute. Why don't I get to define my opponent? Why are you the only one who gets to define it? Well, John McCain's had a record of service for 25 years. Yeah, that 25 years has been full of hypocrisy, flip-flops, and things that he later changed. So why don't I get to define him? Why are you the only one who gets to? But you don't understand. I'm the only one who used to be on this network, and now we have liberals on the network, and I don't know how to debate them. And since I don't know how to debate them, I'm going to walk off the air because I'm a loser, and I'm a wimp, and I don't know how to. I've never debated anyone because I'm used to being on cable news where we only have conservatives. I don't know how to respond. I'll just take off my mic and walk away. Okay. Oh, come on, Joe. Come on. It's awesome. And he's like, and I don't want to talk about what people do in bathrooms. Oh, you do when it's Democrats, but when it's a Republican, and I don't want to talk about people who are associated with John McCain's campaign. Why not? As Rachel said right there, we talk about what people associated, very, very, very loosely associated with Barack Obama. Not even his campaign, but some people he's met in his lifetime. And the guy she's referring to that had the homosexual affair in the Florida bathroom was John McCain's campaign co-chair in Florida, right? So why don't we talk about him? By the way, you know why I really like that point? Because we made it yesterday on the show, right before they went on and talked about it on MSNBC. Look, man, credit where credit is due. Cliff Schecter was on here. We did Republican sexcapades. That is exactly the point we made. Show ends. I go check out that clip. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute now. So let's leave it at great minds think alike.